And good evening to all of you. It gives an immense pleasure to join this event, a global event. First of all, I wanted to thank Joshua Gerard, the CEO of Tatti. And even before I get started, I wanted to say that, that Joshua is from a Kaiba family. His brother worked for us before, and even Joshua started with us. So it's almost like feel like joining the family now. So with that, we'll get started. So Joshua, you can start the session, and I'll answer all the questions. Yes.
Thank you very much, TEL sir, for being with us today. Sir, just on an inquisitive note, how do you think is going to be the entertainment industry or the cinema industry post COVID-19?
Post COVID-19, it's going to be dramatically different. If you really see, the changes are already happening in the Hollywood, right? I mean, already, everything has been on OTT for a long time. And I think the other places like India is getting adjusted to that. Whether COVID is there or not, eventually it will follow the same model. It's just lagging behind 5 years or so. So that's what I see. So the way we consume is going to be different. I mean, everything is going digital. And so therefore the consumption of the media by the audience is changing, right? I mean, think about that. I mean, think about 10 years ago, people were so shy to go into Facebook. Now, if they don't go to Facebook, they don't exist. I mean, I'm just saying as an example. Same thing about, think about Ubers and Olas in India. The idea of somebody going in somebody's car was unthinkable, right? And then look at all the accommodation. Nobody ever thought that somebody would go and stay in somebody's home, and so. But what I'm saying is that the landscape has changed. Consumer preferences have changed. So same thing is happening in the media industry. For a long time, it was very traditional, and the technology and the media has completely disrupted them. I mean, look at what Amazon and Apple have done to Hollywood. They've completely disrupted them and changed them upside down. And so, and all those changes are trickling down throughout the world, and it will continue to happen. So whoever can visualize what's going to happen, then they're going to capture that marketplace.
Hello, everybody.
1 minute, sir. Sorry for the communication. 1 minute. Sir, the next question, sir. Do you think the future producers might start to spend less, or you won't have big films coming anymore? Your opinion on that, sir?
There will be some big films because there is still a market for that. Event cinemas, movies will always be there. Things that require a massive special effects and where you wanted to watch with a lot of audience, I think that will become, much less and less. But those films have to be watched with audience, and that will be there. But I think in terms of the number of such movies is going to keep trickling down, but there will always be a market for that, because end of the day, you cannot replace that. You cannot replace going to a movie theater and having an experience and watch that. That will always be there, like I said. But then other things that doesn't require to be watched with that sort of an experience, the same thing can be replicated in a home theater environment, which people are doing it. And so therefore, those movies that are catered for that market, the producers and the actors, they have to follow that model. And then certainly the TV and all that. So if you really look at it, it's been transforming for a long time. It's just that COVID has come and has woken up, right? It has really shaken the whole industry. And all of a sudden, we are starting to think because we have more time to think. But if you really look at it, these changes have been happening for at least in the last 5 years or so, in a very gradual, subtle manner. But people who are watching the trends, they would know the change is coming.
Sir, do you think OTT platforms are going to play a major role, or even producers, should they plan accordingly that the movie should be launched only in OTT platforms?
I think so, because look at what Netflix have done, right? So now Netflix and even Amazon, they are buying movies outright, right? And so they are even asking for a lot of exclusive deals. So that's been happening. And so I think whoever can capture that market, I think if they wanted to play into that sort of a market, then yeah, they should do that. And then leave the big budget movies that has a lot of action that can only be watched in a big theater. We should leave those movies and actors to that kind of a targeted theatrical release, and then it's almost like you have to put them in different buckets. So you cannot take a movie that has to be run in a TV channel or in a OTT and then take them and put them into another bucket, right? So I think people have to what we call properly segment the marketplace. So we got to segment them properly, and then we need to target that segmentation, and then you market them accordingly. Then I believe the producers will be successful if they follow the model. Of course, releasing in a theater is sexy. Of course, releasing in a theater is what all the actors would want and the fans would want. But the economics of it will not support in the current environment, and especially with COVID, it has completely turned everything upside down. And because of that, we have to think differently and do differently. And if you don't do it, then you'll be setting yourself for a huge disappointment, not only in terms of financial, but also in terms of your passion, because it's just not going to work anymore.
Sir, recently you had produced a movie with Napoleon sir in the lead role.
Yes.
Can you share your experience about the movie, sir? About the production, about your role, about coordinating with the entire production team, and how it all went on, sir?
You asked me 4 questions. Which question you want me to answer?
Or on the whole, sir, about the movie, sir. About the movie.
No, I'm just kidding. I worked with NEPS, for 3 movies already. The first movie is Devil's Night. That was his very first movie. Obviously, he was very nervous because there were some cultural differences, and then also language barriers. Being a friend, I was able to slowly ease him into the different people. And then also, corrected a lot of accent intonation changes. And so, and then if you really watch the second movie, he has gotten better. And now third movie, is getting better. So much like any other movie, from the first movie to the 5th movie, you would see a gradual difference. And in terms of as a person, he's a very down-to-earth person. And the one thing I like about him is he's very disciplined. Is very committed. He didn't put up any scenes or shows like, hey, I'm a central minister, I'm this, I'm that. He was just like a normal person living next door. That's how we treated him. We mingled with him, and he also did the same thing. So from that standpoint, it was wonderful. I think you should have asked those questions to him. I don't know what he said. I hope we are saying the same thing. And then in terms of my experience, coming from a tech background, I never was in a movie. I never took any film school or anything. But what I learned in the process is that, like, it's all people, right? End of the day, everything is a people business. So basically, you need to make sure that you motivate the people. So sometimes I call, as a producer, the biggest job is more like a psychiatrist. It's more like a psychologist. It's more like a therapist. You just solve the people problem and make sure that they perform well in front of the camera, which means that they need to feel good, they need to positive, you need to boost their egos, and whatever you do. I think that, besides the other operations of the movie making business, but more importantly, treating people well and making them feel good is the biggest thing I learned in producing those movies. And I still believe that is by far is the biggest skill a producer should have, is to make sure, because end of the day, let's face it, filmmaking is clashing of a lot of egos, right? Who's big, who is small? I mean, so when you try to balance that, it's a challenge. And how do you do that, and how successfully you do that, it really determines the outcome of the filmmaking.
And about the latest movie?
The latest movie, in fact, the latest movie is called Trap City, which we are, in fact, Monday we are releasing the teaser for this film, and it's a very in my mind that when they showed me the script, it resonated with me because there is some spiritual component. It talks about personal upliftment, and then also it talks about empowerment. I think the previous speaker, Arulmani, actor Arulmani, he talked about it where you never give up, you never give up. So basically, how do you face a lot of rejections, and out of rejections, and even he talked about superstar Rajnikant, where how much he was rejected and he kept on going and going. Similarly, so it has some elements of that. And so that's what we are working on. So I'm really excited, and actor Napoleon is there. And then also we have actor, music composer, G.V. Prakash doing a role in that film. So I'm really excited to release this film soon. And it has several components. It also talks about a little bit of police brutality, social justice, and all that. So from that standpoint, I believe it's a good one to work on.
So what are the biggest challenges you faced being a producer, sir, in Hollywood?
The biggest challenges would be, like I said, is of course, you got to have a lot of money, right? So that's one. That is a challenge. And second challenge is really managing the people, right? It's really managing, for example, it's managing the whole team. Like sometimes there's always a conflict between the director and the cinematographer. Cinematographer wants to do this way, the director, so and then some actors, they wanted to be treated certain way, and those are some of the challenges. Like people challenges were the number one issue that I faced. Yeah.
So let us assume that you are looking for producing a movie or for production. What is the most important thing you would give importance to?
I think the story, the script, whether this is a unique script, and then also I also wanted to personally relate to that script. Is it something that I myself would want to watch and like that script? I think that's what I think. If there is no story, there is no film. And then I also want it to be very unique, and the story should not be told before. So I don't like so vanilla type. So that's what I've been. And obviously, I'm also learning, and as I keep learning, I keep tweaking my wish list and my targeting of the script.
So what would you like to say for the younger generation who want to get into the cinema industry, sir? What piece of advice you would like to give? There are many people, aspiring people who want to come into acting, screenplay, script writing, film direction. They want to become into journalism. In the entire media industry, what is your views? What are the tips that you would give it to them for them to follow?
Yeah. So there are several things. So let me start off with that. Hard work. I mean, if one has to be prepared for a lot of hard work, and if somebody thinks it's going to be given on a silver platter, it's just not happening. They are only cheating themselves. They are kidding themselves. So that is by far the number one requirement in my mind. And then they should be able to face rejection, because you're going to have 99 no's and you're going to have one S. And all you're looking for in that journey is really you're looking for one S. And then how do you find that one S is really is really the name of the game. And then in terms of choosing different areas of filmmaking, I think to me, I would put them into two different things. One is really your passion, and then your strength. So what is your passion? What really keeps you going, that makes you not sleep in the night? And what is that? Only you would know that. I think the previous speaker also, the actor Almani, I think he was comparing biryani, all that. So hopefully, so one has to choose that. And then also so similarly, you have to choose your area that resonates with you, that your heart wants to do, right? So combine that with your passion and with your strength, And then you also need to look at the void in the marketplace. For example, if a comedian is wanted in the marketplace that's missing and you have that role, then you should try to slot it at the right time. So passion and strength and timing it, into the marketplace is, to me, is the right recipe for their success.
One more question, sir. So you have started your journey from moving from India to the US and
Yes.
to being a successful entrepreneur. Can you take us through your very inspirational story, sir? How you started up and how you are there? You're a role model to many of us here.
Well, I'm not still successful yet. It's a journey. You cannot declare success along the way, and I keep going. I just don't know where the limits are. So I was born and brought up in Trichy. Trichy is my hometown. And then after finishing high school, higher secondary, I should say, I went to Chennai. I went to College of Engineering, Anna University, Guindy. I studied there for 4 years in engineering, bachelor's in mechanical engineering. And from there, I started, then I head towards US. I wrote the TOEFL, GRE, like anybody else, the aspiration to do master's degree, so brought me into the US. So I finished my master's degree, then I went to Wayne State, then I went to, started working for Chrysler. Chrysler is the car making company. I was with them for 13 years. In 2005, I felt bored doing the same thing, working for a major corporation. So I jokingly used to say that every 4 years, they used to make same cars, 4 years cars, same problem, same people. It kept more repetitive. And I think the entrepreneurship was already there within me. Then one day I told my boss, hey boss, I wanted to leave Chrysler. He said, man, everybody is trying to get inside Chrysler and have a full-time job and free cars, pension. Back in the days, they gave pension. These days, they're not giving pension. All that, why are you leaving? You must be really stupid to do that. But I asked him, hey, look, if things don't work out and if I come back, will I get a job? So, and he said yes. And then it clicked in my mind is that is the biggest insurance I can ask for. And at that moment, it became not taking the risk is the biggest risk. So then I jumped into entrepreneurship. So I got into software development, started companies. And then I bought a bunch of companies, put them together. And then I kept scaling and scaling. So then the new company, Kaiba, we branded in 2010. And then I ran the company for about 7 years until 2017 timeframe. Then I sort of stepped down from the day-to-day operations and then start focusing on pursuing my passion. So I got into publishing, filmmaking, wellness. So basically that's what my journey is that in short is that I always believe life is so short. And then we all have one life to live. And in that life, we should all experience life to the fullest extent possible. Whatever your potential is, it must be unleashed, whether it is creatively, whether it is technology, whether it is business, doesn't matter. Because ultimately, the work the time that we live on planet Earth is so limited, but the kind of work and the impact we leave behind stays forever. I think you talked about Sami Kanu Vincent right early on, so if you even recall him, he was a pioneer, right? So he was a pioneer, he was an entrepreneur. Even in the 19th century, look at what all the things that he has done. He has gone to other places, traveled around, and got some equipment from a French filmmaker, DuPont, and brought them together, create this tent theater concept. I mean, we are talking 150 years ago. Whatever you are talking about, what's going to happen after COVID, that man has already conceived that 150 years ago. And imagine when there was no technology, no nothing, the amount of disruption and the innovation that he has created. So that's what I see in my journey is to see how to continue to disrupt, how to continue to innovate, and how to make an impact, and how to leave a legacy behind so the youngsters can look at your life and journey, said, if he can do it, so can I. And I think that kind of messages we leave behind is really a compelling story for so many of the youngsters, because a lot of them get rejected and dejected, and they're not mentally well because, thinking that because, people are committing suicide and all that. Instead of that, I think our society should promote mental wellness and really provide some psychological support to so many of the youngsters who get rejected, because rejection and failures are part of this journey. And one must, handle that really well for them to be successful. Because in the end of the day, in the long run, one is going to be successful if you keep trying and trying and trying. And people who are not successful are the ones who stop trying. And the people who become successful are the ones who keep on trying. And that's my journey, and that's the path that I have taken all the way from Trichy, all the way to Hollywood. Sometimes when I think back, is it me who is experiencing the journey? Even I cannot even believe it. So I keep pushing, and hopefully I will see where my limits are. Until I'm stopped with the limits, I keep on pushing it.
So thank you very much. That was very inspirational, and to hear from you. So it was my great privilege and honor on behalf of our institution and all the participants here. I would like to thank you for being a part of this program, sir, and sharing your valuable thoughts, inputs, and motivating all of us.
Thank you, Joshua. Keep up the good work, and you have done an amazing job bringing all these people. And sometimes these kind of efforts may not be appreciated well, but I wanted to take the time, keep doing more of this, and keep spreading knowledge to so many other people. And congratulations for an amazing job you have done. And it's my privilege and honor to join all of you today, and hopefully we'll chat again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.